Hey everybody, Laura St. John here. Take 2 on breaking bad when it comes to your eating habits. I love this week because I just love the whole breaking bad idea of flipping some habits to get on a healthier track quickly, dramatically. This one can really impact your life. Do you have an eating pattern that you're like, I just want to get rid of this thing and it keeps sneaking back? And if so, this broadcast is for you. So welcome into Strong Confident Living. I believe if you're watching this, you're meant to be here right now. And I'm going to just roll up my sleeves. Actually, I'm rolling up my sleeves so much they're off. So I'm ready. Okay, let's get to the juicy part of this broadcast, which is if you are stuck being like, I just keep, trying to kick this habit and I'm having a lot of trouble and I'm not going to do it tonight, or I'm not going to do it next time, or I'm not going to do it tomorrow, and you're feeling a lot of shame and guilt around it, you are, number one, you're feeding it with that negative feeling, and it's going to come back with a vengeance. So number one is I want you to lighten up on yourself a little bit, because you are here, ding, ding, ding. You're here right now to help yourself have more conscious awareness of what you want to flip, what you want to become more aware of, and what you want to change proactively. And until you know what you don't want, then you can't recognize what you do want. So you're here for a reason. So I'm going to take you at a deeper level though right now with the next step, which is when you make an action over and over and over again, a behavior or a choice, and you're like, I just want to kick that choice. When that choice happens with an emotion, it gets like tied together, and that easily becomes a habit. So like, for example, if you walk into the movie theater and you're like, it is really hard for me not to have the big buttery popcorn, it's probably because like the experience of it is that like maybe it just brings you back to being a kid again and gives you that like free feeling. And, but because you had that choice happen with that emotion, which is like, going to watch a movie, having a ton of fun over and over and over again, maybe it happened every time you went to see that movie or a movie, well, then of course, ding, 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 that's what happens. Like we just get stuck when repetitive choices happen with an emotion. That just creates a habit. So often when we're looking to break something in terms of our food choices, we're not getting to the deeper level, which is the emotion behind it. And what I like to always share with people is before you make a shift, like before you actually make any kind of behavior or action, an emotion happens before. An emotional habit precedes a physical habit. So maybe you feel boredom and then you walk into your, refrigerator and you start crunching on anything. Maybe you feel like you need to let loose and that's when you go for the bottle of wine. Maybe you feel stressed out and that's when you grab the ice cream out of the freezer. Like you have to recognize the emotional side of it that went with the choice. And perhaps you've just done it over and over and over again, and you're ready to break it. So you don't just say, I'm not gonna do this tonight. I'm not gonna go grab the ice cream. I'm not gonna go have that wine. I'm not gonna have the buttery popcorn. I'm not gonna do this, because then what you're doing is you're focusing the energy on the problem. As soon as you focus the energy of like, I'm not going to, you are setting up a power struggle for yourself where it becomes you versus the food. In a breaking bad situation, that feeds it. It feeds the problem because all your focused energy is going towards the struggle. And when that happens, it is really hard to break because suddenly now it's you in a battle with what you think is food, but it's you versus you in a power struggle. And food is just the placeholder. It is like you think it's the food, but it's actually really not. It's the you versus the emotion. And that's why I said you have to go one step deeper with yourself and get real with yourself and say, what is my emotion under it that precedes this action right now? Then you got to loosen up on yourself and being like, oh, this is just what I've always been doing to loosen up. Oh, this is what I've always been doing, like since I was a kid. Or like, oh, you know what? I didn't realize like every time I'm bored, I just want to crunch on salty things. Like you need to really just, again, get real with yourself and know that emotional currents lie under the physical actions and that you may have just created the habits of creating these like choices over and over and over and over again. So really lighten up on yourself. But the last piece here is stop struggling against the problem. You can either go against the current of you, like versus you always, but you are always going to look at yourself and feel struggle. You're always going to look in the mirror and be like, this is all wrong, okay? Versus you can flip it instead of being like, I'm not going to do this tonight, or I'm not going to do this next time, or I'm not going to emotionally eat tonight, or I'm not going to grab those chips, or I'm going to, whatever it is that you're not going to do, you need to flip that. The last piece here is you're going to have to flip it to the positive. So if, you just, once you recognize the feeling that you want, and food just came for that experience, food just always came along for the ride. It was never food at all. It was not the problem. Okay. It was the feeling of that negative emotion, then being fueled by shame and guilt of the choice afterwards, then being done over and over and over again. That was the actual thing. So once you uncover that for yourself and fuel it with love, like one of my favorite sayings that I do when I coach people is, fill that pothole with love. Maybe you just did it over and over again, and all those potholes, like, so every time you felt that feeling, that divot, like in your path, you're like, oh, this is what I need to do, because this is what I do when I'm feeling this stress. This is what I do when I'm needing to wind down. Once you recognize that you could fill that pothole with something else, like, go for a walk, go take a bath, go have a cleanse drink, like go do something else, or just say, you know what, I'm going to do it here or there. Like when you are in control of your actions and choices and know what they are, and like the experience and the emotions that all have bundled up together for this ride, you recognize that you've been driving all along, that all of these choices have been in your hands all along. So flip the focus, and instead of being like, I'm not gonna do this, flip the excuses, flip the buts, flip the everything to so I'm gonna do this next time, okay? And recognize all of these pieces just come together beautifully. This is Breaking Bad Week. We're going to dive deep into all different topics all week long, so stay tuned. And, next week's prep week for our 6-week challenge, so just keep tuning in. Love you guys so much.